Hi everyone, welcome to Women in Web3 podcast that celebrate the inspiring stories of women who are shaping the futures of technology. I'm your host Kenneth Chu, and in each episode we dive into the world of Web3 and explore the incredible works done by women in blockchain, NFT, Metaverse, and much more. As someone who is passionate about diversity and inclusion in tech, I created this podcast to showcase the achievement of challenges of women who are making waves in the industry. My goal is to inspire more women to get involved and help build a world that is more equitable and inclusive for everyone. In this episode of Women in Web3 podcast, we are very blessed to introduce our guest, Belinda Lim, who is the head of partnership SG at the Sandbox Metaverse, a serial entrepreneur and speaker, a 7-year blockchain veteran and Singapore representative of Women in Blockchain Asia, known as WIBA. She has previously co-founded a blockchain startup that raised USD 2 million from prominent investors. Belinda has also published a book on blockchain, Blocklass, that demystify blockchain and shine insights into various career paths. Belinda's passion are to bridge disruptive technology to the masses and uplifting female leadership in the tech space. Her expertise lies in new venture creation with innovative technology such as DeFi, Metaverse, blockchain, cloud computing, fintech, and etc. So, without further ado, let us welcome Belinda. Hi,
Hi.
Belinda. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation and come on to my podcast. Thank you very much, and we've been looking forward to this for quite some time already. So very blessed to have you.
Thank you for
Thank you very
having me.
much.
I know I procrastinated in filling out the form. So thank you for keeping me on my toes, and then I think it's always great to have a chat regarding with people who are passionate about the space. So again, thank you for organizing
Yeah.
this and giving us a platform to to share about experience and also our insights.
Yeah, no worries. I know that every guest they are really busy with their thing. I'm really appreciative that you make time to come onto my podcast to share your insights because your experience right will really help to inspire more women to come on board to even demystify, right? Even you publish a book to demystify a lot of different things, right, about blockchain. I think that is also very important. So, but before we start, right, there's a tradition that every guest, right, on my podcast will pose a question
I
out to the
see.
next guest. So, so are you ready to answer the question of the day posted by the previous guest before we can officially kickstart the show?
Sure, I'm hope I'm not. I'm sure I'm a bit afraid right now, but okay. Let me answer the question.
No worry, no worry. I believe that you can. You have no you. This question may not. You might
Okay,
be able
okay.
to answer it and
Sure.
even better. Okay, so the question of the day posted by the previous guest is how would you help more people to move forward in the Web3 space? So this
It's
is
a it's a
this
good
is
question. It's a
easy
good
for you, I
question.
believe.
I personally think that the Web3 space is very noisy in that sense. Like you hear a lot of the hype, a lot of the FOMO. So I feel like at the very basis, you really need to know your stuff. I think personally, I think that's something that at least at Viva we also want to be people to have like real substance because we feel like if you're just here to like advocate, talk about things, right? I think it's really important. But I think fundamentally, like we need more people who know their stuff so that we can like take the right knowledge forward. So I think always that is the fundamental basis. So learn a lot, learn from the industry player, and then know your stuff. And I think for me, I love to share my knowledge with more people. So I think that's my fundamental in terms of how I can help more people move forward. But how much time do we have this? Do we need to talk a lot? I can talk all days on this.
Of course, definitely. But thank you very much for answering this question. Is to really
Mm,
educate people, right? The people that really know
mm,
their stuff, right? But I want to dive deeper on that part. Like, what do you mean by dive deeper? Why
mm.
particularly in this
Uh,
area? Is it because there was some
mm,
misinformation or even some um, how should I put it? Like we know that there's a lot of negativity that's happening, a
mm.
lot of negative news about blockchain, about decentralization, about NFT, about anything that has to do
Yeah,
with
yeah.
blockchain, right? So is it because of that? That's why you together with WIBA, Women in Blockchain Asia, wanted to come in to really show that you need to
Yeah,
know your stuff.
I would say that the Web3 space is relatively new to most people. So imagine right now you are the first maybe 1 to 5% to understand about the Web3 space. Then again, this 1 to 5%, only 1 to 5% really do their homework and understand about like this thing. So I think the reality is that we do have a lot of like 95% of the market. That's why I think this is not just us knowing our stuff. It's actually setting the role model right? Because I think we did have a lot of setback
Mm,
in the entire Web3 space of like mismanagement of money, like previously we have FTX, uh, and things that we can
mm,
control and things versus things that we can't control. Of course, the can't control part is quite massive. Like we have a lot of new technology that is not tested, but I think things that we can control, we have to control. Like in terms of like making sure that we are ethical, reading the right models, and also making sure that like everybody is successful in the business, right? Like making sure the like a customer who use a Web3 platform is not being exploited. So I
yep.
think that's the part that in terms of when I say like doing things, I think doing things right is very, very important.
Mm,
Because if not, I think it leave a bad taste for a lot of things. And I
yep.
think right now we do have a bit of that mini bull cycle. Bitcoin prices went up, right? So I think it's a bit of
Yep.
double-edged sword. We know that whenever there's up, there's down.
Yep.
But I feel like when there's up, there's more interest coming in. But that's where I think we need to do more homework to make sure that it's
Mm,
not just FOMO. But when the things go down, at least when people who know their stuff, it's like, hey, this is I can understand what's going on, and
yep.
then it's a bit more balanced in that sense.
Yeah. I think why I pull up this because recently I had a friend that had been is following someone is following like a huge influencer,
Mm,
and this huge influencer is putting out a NFT of his own, and then the followers were just following blindly. Why would I say following blindly? Because as you know, right, all NFT creator, right, they will believe that their baby is the
the
most
best.
valuable, right? And there will be demand.
Mm,
It will pull up the prices. That's
mm,
why when you talk about being exploited, right? I think this is where I think that is happening now with some of the influencer out there that they are selling this. I won't say ideal
mm,
ideal scenario, right, that their NFT is valuable. At the same time, the NFT has some utility. They are just also trying to do whatever to bring up the value of their NFT or even the utility or the
mm.
value of whatever project they are putting out. So I think what you have shared, right, is to really know your stuff. And now with more prices coming up, right, a lot of people will be jumping in not
Yeah,
knowing what is going on. They are
yeah.
just following the trend or the pattern
Mm.
that this market, right, or whoever that is causing it to spike up, right, to really jump into the bandwagon.
Yeah, I think that end of the day, like I think to all individuals, as well, risk management, it's an
Mm,
interesting category of like asset. It's a bit like gambling, but I can't say for sure. I think things are proven, right? But I think it's really risk management on your own personal finances. If you want to play, you take a small percentage out and then you treat it as like money that you can lose, right? So it's not like you put in your whole entire family savings.
mm,
And I think we have gone through a couple of bull and bear cycle and like scams or hacks,
yeah,
right? So I think that's something that like we should probably also advocate, like risk management in
yeah.
your own personal portfolio more than anything.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think financial literacy is the most important in this part, especially very much into blockchain or even cryptocurrency NFT, because now with a mobile phone, right, you can just invest. Back then, you
Mm,
still need to go to the bank, you still need to go to
yeah,
all the accredited stockbrokers to really invest. And you need to have minimum a few thousand to really invest. But now a few $100, you can just get into the market itself. So thanks a lot for sharing that. Just want to dive deeper on that part about being exploited. Really knowing what is happening, right? I think that's very important. So now I believe that there's a lot of audience, right, that are new to you, that are seeing you for the first time. Could you just do a short introduction about yourself, talk about your background, what were you doing before you get into Web3, and how did you get into Web3?
sure. I think for me, I'm a non-tech person, so no worries. Although like blockchain is very technical, I'm a non-tech person, so if I can do it, so can you, right? So for me, I have a degree in banking and finance.
Okay.
Great in finance really. And then I at a point in time I thought that was really growing. In fact, in like early like 2001 something, so that I think I was like, hey, I don't want to work in the bank, I want to work in tech, because like I felt like tech is the way to go. And wanted to take an unconventional route. So I started my career in cloud computing. So I was more of a business manager in cloud computing. I was setting up a private cloud division for the ST Telemedia Group, because at the point in time it was still private cloud versus public cloud. So that was when AWS, Google Cloud, Ali Cloud are not there yet. So I was helping them set up a private cloud to increase the usage of the data center, because data center is all about hardware. If you the software layer, you can actually increase the value almost 10 times by the amount of like because there's more utility versus like you selling hardware and space, right? So I think that was the initial idea. I think after 2 years we did a joint venture, 5 million, and then I was one of the key team member to push this project through. So I think with this, right, like a new grad, nothing, no experience, and then like I was very thankful. My first boss, Clarence, gave me the opportunity to just help and start anything from scratch. So I think that's where my intrapreneurial route happened. And being young, I was like, hey, I want to start my own thing too. So like at the point of time, I learned about blockchain through this course called MIT FinTech. I think there's a future, I think future commerce, I think. So that was like, hey, I heard about a blockchain, and that was really interesting, because to me it's a bit like the new database. Because database used to be really easily hacked. Like you just need to hack in the database, and the bigger the company is, the more value for the hacker to hack it, because it's more data at one point, right? So to me, that their whole entire blockchain was actually very interesting. And at that point of time, Bitcoin was also increasing in price. I was like, hey, like me, I don't really know investment. I bought a little bit of Bitcoin, but like, hey, when I buy it, I understand how it works. So I was like, okay, this is really interesting. So that's how I got into the blockchain space. And then I did quite a lot of things in the blockchain space. So I started more in advisory, helping like listed company who wants to launch their blockchain element. So I think that was also helping different countries come and set based in Singapore to expand in the Southeast Asian market. So I think us being in Singapore, we are quite lucky, because we are really a gateway to Southeast Asia. How Jean say hi hi. Yeah, so I think that's the part that I realized that, hey, there's a lot of opportunity in blockchain space, and you can really be who you want to be. So I wrote a book in 2018, and I was also the CMO for a RegTech firm, helping to create like a consolidated, integrated platform for crypto compliance. So again, like I have no idea what to do compliance. Okay, like I don't like I was like, oh, maybe I know how to do word check and check people's like ID. Are you like a illegal person? But I think to me it's something really new. So I studied also about crypto compliance and compliance, and so I think there's a lot of learning. And I think in 2021, um, together with some co-founders, we started a blockchain wallet company, because I think our aim is really that we were focused in Indonesia, and there was such a huge market of people who can't get access to crypto. Because if you think about it, like if it's not cryptocurrencies or NFTs or gaming, and all of this require a non-custodial wallet, and in the Indonesian market it was quite bad. Like when they look at MetaMask, they'll say hi, they text in the Telegram group like, how do I set up MetaMask? Some people say they take a screenshot of your seed phrase. This is how I'm going to set you up. So it's like working so hard on the game, getting crypto as a reward, and they lose it in just sending a stranger their seed phrases. So I think that's something that we wanted to change. So like I think I did that for about 2 years, raised like about 2 million from the likes of Prince of Brunei, Alaya Ventures, EBOS, which is an esports company based in Indonesia. So I had a lot of understanding of the Indonesian market, and I'm really appreciative of it, because it's like such a huge market and so early, and like there's so many gaming elements involved. So I think that's where I was doing. And then like when Sandbox wanted to come to Singapore, I volunteered. Because to me it was like it's also aligned to what I want to do, to bring tech to more people. Because you think about it, like I find that the metaverse, especially with Sandbox, we work with about 500 brands worldwide. This is like the biggest onboarding of Web 2 to Web 3 that we can ever achieve as a company. That's all I've seen. That without just buying crypto with you, because I think end of the day, cryptocurrency is just a currency. Like you will not be like in Singapore, be like, oh, I need to keep cash for what? The cash has to have a usage. That it
Yeah.
has a flow. So to me, the metaverse is a place where people get to experience, get to play game, in a very seamless manner, pictureless manner. So to me, I was really like wowed by the whole entire vision of the Sandbox, and it gave me the opportunity to deal with a lot of the Web2 clients. So like this year in September, we launched the Singapore Lion City. So the Lion City we onboarded about 35 brands in Singapore, just Singapore alone. So I'm
Wow.
like, this is like really huge.
Wow.
Like within a year, we onboarded 35 brands that is from all walks of life. We have like the big company, like we have DBS, Charter and Keith came in, not in Lion City, but in Sandbox. We have one championship, and then we have smaller like SMEs who are testing this out also to as a way to increase business or like increase engagement with their current existing group of people. So I think this is something that I'm like really passionate about. And of course, I think we've been doing WIBA all along to help more women get into the space because, like, end of the day, we can't have like only one gender coming into the space and then the other gender is left. And then how we left the half, leave half of the population behind. So I think that's something that we have been actively working.
Wow, 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 wow. Like after you have shared all everything, right? I think that also so when which year did you
Uh,
really like come
Blockchain space
into
is
the
about
blockchain
2016,
starting from?
2017. Yeah, 16 was like,
Wow, wow. That's why we can call you the
like
OG already
OG
lah.
feels very old. Yeah, I think my wrinkles coming up.
No lah, like why would I say that? Because it's like I think previously I did tell did when you share that like when you started in blockchain and even
Mm,
co-founded the blockchain wallet, I was like, wow, okay, so you are like one of the few, I would say, really knowledgeable, really know your stuff in blockchain, get into the space really early, and that's why that's why you are one of the first few that I really invite onto the show.
thank you.
So really want you to share. I think it's also the timing, right? Like because this season is coming almost coming to the
Mm,
end. Yeah, the second last, maybe the third one before we end for this season. I think it's also good to hear from you, right? Like why did you had that thought of, okay, tech is the way to go, and then after that from there you move into blockchain, and then even co-founded the blockchain wallet with a few co-founders. Like why did you
the
where
tech.
did you had that kind of
Okay.
vision? Yeah, that or that forefront or foresight for that.
Personally, I think that I read this book by Lin In, by Sarah Sandberg, right? I think
Yeah,
she
yeah.
always say that join a rocket ship or something along those lines, which I agree. To me, it's like when you want to start your own career, you start your career, you always choose the one with the largest potential. So I think at the point of time, tech was looking like it's going to be largest potential because if you look at the banking industry, it's doing really well right now. I think the bank has been making a lot of good money. But I feel like as the industry grows, at the point of time, it feels like tech is not that big that it's going to grow. So I feel like for anyone who's trying to start a career, you have to map up, right? So for example, if you look at an industry that is a bit of that going on the downturn, right? They can only cut costs and optimize
Mm,
like like we try to optimize they need to find another person. So imagine you're working in that industry, you're facing more pressure.
mm,
Like you don't really have that much option. So to me, I was just increasing my luck in that sense. So like personally, that's how I've been choosing
mm,
opportunity. Which one gives me the most potential, and is it aligned to my values? And one thing I like about the tech space was that tech was always changing. So as someone, it's a
mm,
bit I forced myself to be in a situation that I'm never knowing the 100% of the industry. There's always like this,
mm,
like I don't know. Now with blockchain, way crazier, but there's this element of like things that you don't know and things that is happening. That's why like I feel like this
mm.
also keep me on my toes. But it's not an easy part, right? Like whereby
Uh,
you always have to learn new things. But I feel like this to me is a way to be resilient. So at least I don't have to be worried like, hey, one day if I like lose something or like do something I get let me off from the job, I have no way to go because I'm resilient in that sense. So I think this is more of just my personal toolkit in
mm.
terms of why I choose certain opportunities and also make certain decisions.
Yeah, and this is the part that I'm very curious. Like, what made you who you are? Because it seems that you love challenges, you love learning new things. You are a learner. Is there something that in your childhood or whoever that is a role model to you that is shaping you to who you
I
are?
think for me, I didn't think that I would be working in the corporate industry for very long. I always feel that
Okay.
a bit of that I don't come from a very rich background, although I was studying schools that I have a
Mm,
lot of relatively well-to-do friends. So to me, it's about
yep.
me when my grandfathers are all having their own small business, but my father era doesn't have
Oh, okay.
any. So and I think that in
Mm.
my generation there's also nothing. So to me it's a bit like I grew up in that like shop house, and then I think I was playing the
Mm.
cash register when I was younger. I'll be like, oh, I always
Oh,
wanted to do
yeah.
my own business. So I think that's a
Uh-uh.
bit of that childhood dream of like, hey, I don't know what business I want to do, but I do want to own my business because I feel like also as a woman, right, like I wanted an option to be like, if I ever
Mm.
like want to build my own, I want to have flexibility in my own personal life and that I have control over. So to me, entrepreneurship done rightly was the way to go because you have
Mm.
flexible hours. I think without COVID, you think about it, like pre-COVID, there's no remote work. No controlling your
Yep,
own
yep.
hours. Or but after COVID, maybe we do have a bit of like flexible remote working and stuff like that. So things are better right now. But I think
Mm.
pre that, I'm like, if I ever want to have flexibility on my own schedule, I want to travel to different countries, so I have to do my own thing. So that's
Mm.
how I've been looking at giving myself
Your career, your
my
life.
career to
Mm.
be more flexible. But of course, it's really very challenging. I will not recommend it for everyone. But at one point of my career, after I was doing my own thing, I was like, oh, I'm left with $5 in my bank account. What do I do about that? Right? Like the amount of
Mm.
stress is like up off the charts. Like your happiness levels like here and then here and then here and like compared to
It's a roller
just
coaster
here and
ride,
there.
right?
You close a really huge deal and then you're like, oh, where the money is coming. So I personally like the problem solving part of it also. Like challenge. So we say that we bring problems to
Mm.
ourselves like based on the things that we attract, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because when you were talking about it, I'm seeing a lot of similarity in both of us. Why? Because when you say that your grandparents, right, they have their shop, their shop houses,
Mm.
like mini shop businesses. Because for my case, my grandfather, he we have a family business, which is like
Oh,
photo studio, like
yeah.
相馆. Yeah. So we like in the past, where the analog photography and all
Yeah.
that, you need the film,
You
you
need to
need
stand
the
in front of that
negative, all
thing.
that. So we correct. You need to stand in front of the thing, and you need like maybe a week to develop the photos into real photos, right? Because you need time. So that's why when you talk about a cash register, because I was that means during school holidays, right? I was always helping my uncle like to do that. But my dad didn't
Mm,
inherit the business because my grandfather felt that uh, because he's the youngest and he's always
mm,
outside running while the brothers are taking care of the shop. Then for us, it's like we go down there and earn some pocket money, right, during school holidays. Because we were not very well off, although we have a family business. But my dad, he was like working for people. And when I knew more about my grandfather, right, I realized that he's very entrepreneurial. He has that vision that foresight, right, for my
mm,
uncles, for my dad. That my Although my dad did not inherit the business, but he put him into becoming an
mm,
apprentice of his friend who runs an
mm,
aircon
mm, mm.
business, and he started fixing mechanic and all that. That he's where he is today, like a regional manager. So when you talk about like your grandparents had a business and then skip one generation and then to you, right, then you feel that you want to do something. You feel that like corporate job, like for me the same thing. I always debate with my dad, like rebel against my dad. My dad was, I must study
Yeah.
hard, get good grades, get a job, then get married and all that. I was like, I don't see them being
Yeah.
academic wise, right, will be successful in the future. Because when I look back at my uncle not educated, but they are running business, they are staying bigger house, driving big cars. Then my grandfather have a business and all that stuff. Then I was like, then why is our life so different
Mm,
from the
mm.
rest, right? So that's why when I go to school, it's all about what you call building your skill set, building your social network. Like you talk about your friends are really well off. It's
Yeah.
also the network that you're in, right? That also form who you are today, and also to let you see
Yeah,
the other side of
exactly.
the
And
world.
I think
Yeah.
the reality of the how I see the world is that the only constant is change. And I feel
Mm.
like if I'm not always embracing change, then I will get like paced out in that sense lah. So I think that's what I see in the market that is more
Mm.
global. There's more technology coming in, right? And then I think this is why I'm very thankful because I feel like I've seen this quite long ago. in terms of
Mm.
how technology, there was this time where there's a lot of outsourcing from the Singapore
Yep.
side all the way to India. So there was a
Mm.
wave already of people getting like displaced from their job. And I think
Yep.
recently, look at it with AI.
Mm.
We say, AI, I think that the future is human plus AI.
Okay.
It's not like just AI alone, but it's true that AI automated a lot of the work. So
Mm.
to become the next level, right, you need to be a cyborg yourself. You need to learn how to operate
Mhm.
AI, like operate machinery. So I think that's the part that like if you know that the constant is change, right, then you need to
Mm.
have the right strategy in life also to expect change in your career. And I feel like this is where Singaporeans sometimes we have a really really good government,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I think that personally we probably need to learn how to be resilient also in one way
Yep.
or another. And
Yeah.
Singapore as a gateway to Southeast Asia is such an amazing opportunity. We have our native language, English. A lot of this is
Mm.
easy for us. So I think it's just how much we can imagine, right? Like to embrace this change in our life and optimize it for ourselves.
Yeah. I like the part when you talk about change and you talk about digitization or even technology coming in, right? And that is also the reason why my family business went bust, because even Kodak, right, one of the largest film
Yeah.
giant, right, even has lost it. That's why my family business just went. Just I think within 5 years, right, when digital photography came in,
Mm,
my uncle couldn't evolve, and the machinery wasn't fast enough.
mm,
The infrastructure, because like the what you call that, the machinery, right, that is being used, right, is being leased,
mm.
right?
Yeah,
So you have to take loans, and because it's cost like tens of thousands
yeah,
of
yeah.
dollars,
Against it.
and then imagine the analog way was going down and digital was coming up, but they wasn't there yet, right? That transition, right? So it's also hard for my uncles who are in their late 40s, 50s, trying to embrace technology, learning Photoshop, and really coming
Mm,
into that space, right? To learn, right? And their children also do not want to take over the business, so it's also hard for them to involve. So within like 5 years, right, my
yeah.
family business basically wiped out, and my uncles had to sell their shop from like that to keep on shrinking until we they totally sold it out. So now my uncles, one of them had like declared bankrupt
Mm,
because couldn't finance the machinery anymore. Declared
okay.
bankrupt. Uncle went to drive bus. Right, like when you mentioned like to evolve, to
Mm,
really
mm,
embrace technology and move along. So I think that is also another mindset we talk about, like in Web3, right? A lot of people are not embracing Web3 yet, but that is also that big group of people that do not see that opportunity, they do not see that
yeah.
future, or they are more negative or skeptical, and that is also
Mm,
where the media is pointing them, right, to really talk back about it, talk bad about this space. I think that is also um, kind of affecting them to make the decision, right, that will not be able to change. Because imagine if they took the chance, right, my uncle, they took the chance to really embrace the technology, really move into learning about Photoshop, in digital photography, embracing it, right. It's also very hard for them to learn something new and let go the old, right. So I think this is the mindset where maybe a lot of Singaporeans are not able to, because we are very much a follower. We
mm,
just follow and being comfortable with where we are.
mm,
So thanks a lot for sharing that background and talking about a few things about change, then about human plus AI. I think this is also very good for us to really see what is the future trends in Web3, right?
mm.
So this is also where we wanted to talk about the future trends in Web3. But before we go to the topic, right, of this episode, right, I have a personal question that I ask all the guests, right, which is, why did you accept my invitation to be my guest on Women in Web3 podcast, knowing that it's being hosted by a man?
I see. Okay, so I think for me, I do run the Singapore chapter of Women in Blockchain Asia. I think from the start, our fundamentals is really like we need everybody to be involved. So male allyship, in fact, like George is our male ally in the WIBA space. George is actually my boss
Mm,
in Sandbox, right now here. He's our secretary in WIBA when we first started. So I think for me personally also, like my first job was actually very supported by my real boss. He was advocating for me that, hey, you need to go this amount, or you say this amount, you are worth this amount. go ahead, So I think in that perspective, right, I feel like it's a bit like empty chamber if it's just the women talking about themselves. We just echo off each other and nothing really happened. So, but I think real things happen, when like we have male ally like yourself. And I think you shared about your story when we had coffee chat previously. I was like, okay, yeah, it's true. Like, on the journey that we have to have more people coming in. It's interesting. It's not usual at all.
Mm,
But I think I appreciate the hard work that you put on ground to elevate the women and the hard work for you to putting
thank
this
you.
podcast out. Right, appreciate your effort on it. So I think it's really helping the whole entire community grow. We need better, and I think sometimes it's good that sometimes women have our own egos also. We're not just men. But I think it's good that we all come together in a very neutral setting, right, to be working on a
Mm.
larger goal for everybody to be involved.
Yeah, and when you talk about that, right? Like women have egos. I think every human being
Yeah,
has that certain ego, pride,
yeah.
dignity, right? In everything that we do, and I realized that it's not about any gender. It's about the level that you have
Mm,
grown, right? Like become more
yeah.
educated, and when you have more education, you
Mm,
feel that you are worth so much, right? And then reality hits you, and you can't really take it. And the other thing, I think, because on our coffee session or our supper, right, we talk about like different experiences. And then recently, after interviewing so many people, like this podcast, right, just started. I was like thinking, okay, maybe I only have like 5 women in Web3 guests, and then it's just spin off, right, connecting with a lot. And now it's coming to 20 episode. Yours is
mm,
18 episode 18. So I think that there are really a lot of amazing women in Web3. And who I attract, right, is also people like for you, right? We have a lot of similarities. Like even you, Ida, you both of you believe that you need allies, any allies, right? You need everybody to come on board, not just hearing from the women's side. And especially in this space in tech, right? Like it's a very male dominated industry. And like just now you mentioned, right, if let's say this industry is going to be the future of internet, right, and it's only solving half of the population problems, or only helping to solve or address the problems of the
mm,
49% of the whole world population, then how about the women, right? The problems, the issues, the challenges that women are facing. So if technology can come in, or Web3 can come in to solve, right, then we will have a better future,
mm,
right? Better future, better world. Where now in the Web2, or now the current state, the real world, we are seeing a lot of
mm.
problem created by one
Yeah.
half, but the other half is not being addressed. And that's why for me, I feel that my part, right, being an ally to champion women, because I saw that problem. And the reason why recently I kind of had that kind of aha moment, or enlightened, right, through a conversation with one of the guests, is that I realized that I'm always in a female dominated environment, right? Because okay, fun fact is that I study fashion design. I'm the only guy in the class. I graduated major in fashion design. Since young, I'm always surrounded by my aunties, my female cousins. I have two younger sisters, very close to my mom, my aunts, yeah, and my grandma, right? So I'm always being embraced in that female environment. And even in my industry, I was in advertising,
Mm,
media, sales, and marketing. I would say media,
mm,
marketing, and advertising is very female dominated, right? All my bosses, I would say most of my boss, okay, maybe 80% of my bosses that in my whole career
Mine
are
is
female.
100%.
I work with.
Yeah, maybe 80% is guys because I work in tech. So
Yeah,
it's like a reflection.
yeah. So correct. So when that's why I realized that why I can resonate with women in Web3, women in tech, or I feel that I can help, because I was
Mm,
excluded. Frankly speaking, I was excluded in that industry, and I have to prove, right. I have to show my worth. I have to
mm,
outperform, and every career I outperform, and that's where I also being
mm,
boycotted, being
mm.
excluded,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, right? So from that experience, but it gave me a lot of
Mm,
purpose. Although I went through depression because of all this toxic
mm,
culture, being excluded, I realized that this is a big problem that a lot of people are facing, but nobody is solving it. And that's why and seeing that my female friends who became mothers, they are also stuck. They want to bring the bread back home, but they want to balance parenting, motherhood, but working doesn't work for them, and that's how the entrepreneurship comes in. And the more I see it, then from mothers, then become women entrepreneur, and now women in Web3. So when you see something, you can't
Yeah,
unsee,
yeah.
right? So that's why the journey started like 6 years ago from my book, and now talking to you on this podcast, having almost 20 episodes for season one, and season two is in the making. It's already I have a guest list that's waiting. So when I invite you, right, I was like, okay, like you were one of the first few. Then after that is spin off, and now we are almost
Mm.
coming to the end of this episode. And thanks for sharing and being having that thought of bringing even male allies coming in into the equation. And for you, right, it's good to hear that there are male allies that's championing you, that's supporting you, that's mentoring you, that give you that opportunity. And you are just one of very good example. And I believe that you will make a very good role model for a lot of women out there that not seeking help, right?
And I
Not having that
yeah,
support.
I always like to use the word assist lah, because I feel like help means like coming from another background. I think the reality is that
Mm.
people always think that other people know better than them. Like everybody got their shit in life figured out, but I think the reality is everybody is just figuring out stuff. So I think once you understand this
Mm.
layer, right? So it's not so scary because everybody is really figuring out stuff. And then I think for women who are starting on their like their own entrepreneurship journey, they have to understand that it's actually a journey. It's not like an endpoint people suddenly
Mm.
hit a stage and they are like, oh, I'm successful. It doesn't really want to say no matter what
Mm.
stage you are. It's not there's no platform. It's like, hey, at you pass this stage, you won the game and then you're successful. Lah. So I
There's
think
no.
that's the part that I'm hoping to help more people understand. Also, like people who are starting on their first like speakership, their first
Mm.
book, their first like business. We are all in it together, like
Yeah.
in a better no
It's
yeah,
all in
it's
the
all in the
making, right?
making. So I think that's where we are here also.
Yeah, I think it's good to hear from you that there's no one path that
Mm,
is the same for everyone.
yeah.
Everybody's path is different. Like my mentor, right, Jack, his path is like
Uh,
Sun Sun, right? It's like very smooth. Never had any dip at all, like
mm,
for him, right? But because it's also because of his character, he's a very systematic, so he has everything to back him up.
yeah,
That's why he know he has very good clarity about where he want to
yeah.
go. That's why he planned everything and he moved up. But not everybody is
Yes,
like
and
that.
I think the very big thing about women is like it's our confidence, right? But I think confidence is done
Hmm.
is achieved through accomplishment. So like you just need to make sure that you
Yep.
keep accomplishing in one small task or another, then you will feel confident along the way. So the confidence doesn't be like, oh, you just brainwash yourself and happen at night. So I think this is why we really encourage people to keep doing, even like you're not there yet, you just keep doing. Just the moment you are
Hmm.
doing it, you are getting confidence. It's very important in your journey.
Yep. Yeah. And don't really think about it. Just do it, right? Because the more you do, the more confident you
Yeah, and
are,
a lot of
right?
information you only know when you do it. So I'm like you just
Hmm.
test fast, but don't kill yourself, mismanage it. But I mean, just do if it's just a small task. And really, what's the worst case scenario, right? Even you say something wrong on stage, it's not gonna be life or death. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's also important, and that also bring us to really
Mm,
understand the market, right? Because when you do not know
mm,
what you do not know, it's
yeah.
very hard for you to move ahead. So maybe you can share with us what is the
Mm.
what is happening in the Web3 and Metaverse space right now at
Mm.
this
Okay,
moment.
sure. So for the Metaverse, or as I work with Sandbox, right? So I'll just share a little bit more on the Sandbox
Yeah.
space. I think according to Deloitte, I do think that there's still a big trend of the Metaverse, but maybe not the way we see it traditionally in terms of the Facebook Horizon side of things. If you're looking at extended reality gaming, I think the market is huge. For
Mm.
Sandbox, we just launched our self-publishing tool. So it used to be like if you have land previously, you can't do anything with your land. You can just, oh, I own a nice NFT and that's all. But right now, what we are doing, because the sandbox is really focused on user generated content. With a piece of land right now, you can create your own experience. You can launch your NFT soon, but the experience that is already live. If you go, I think we are getting all the features right for people to build their own experience. So what it means that like imagine you're in Singapore, you have a piece of land, you can build anything you want. About you can build a business, you can build like your own gallery to showcase your NFT. So I think this is a huge opportunity to create cool content that you can monetize along the way. So I think this is one of the largest things that's happening, at least in our version of Metaverse right now. So because and traditionally, you think about it, there's a reason why Sandbox looks like Sandbox, which is a bit low boxy, because we want to encourage more user generated content. Because right now the power to create is in the hands of a few studios, not a few, but maybe we have a 200 studios worldwide, but it's still accumulated in the studios that they are actually servicing the B2B clients, which really need to, because they need a end-to-end strategy. They need to execute on a very good level. But I think on the personal front, right, I think this is opportunity to participate. You don't have to be like, oh, just consuming it. You can create it in it. So I think this is really exciting, at least from the metaverse perspective. For Web3, I think we do see interesting Web2 to Web3 angles recently. Yesterday, I was at the Circus Forum. They launched their Web3 services arm. They recently did a wallet, non-secure, non-custodial wallet with Grab. So, like, imagine Grab, right, now
Oh,
have a
okay.
wallet that you can
Yeah, I had
yeah,
that Web3
exactly,
wallet.
right? So I think it's interesting that we are seeing a lot of the Web2 big players, tech players, incorporate the wallet technology. And I think NFT as a digital collectibles open up a lot of, it's a new form of engagement for brands. Where it used to be like once you sell an item, hopefully you have their membership details. If they don't sign membership, it's gone. So what with digital collectible, you can create continuous campaign. Say for you own this one NFT, and then because you own this NFT, you can like go to the next event, and that they give you another like proof of attendance kind of thing, and then you can continue their journey with you. So I think it creates a very interesting new marketing world for all the marketers worldwide. And people can use this anything about it. NFT, the cost of running an NFT campaign for a company is not expensive because it's a digital product, right? So you pay for your design, but the distribution is on the blockchain already. You can distribute really widely. So I think it's a really like new form of engagement, but it depending on like what can the company, what can people think about. Like McDonald's did a Grimace digital collectible also with
Yeah.
bandwagon in Singapore, so it's huge. In Sandbox, we did a McDonald's land in the thing. So I feel like this is new opportunities for the Web2 consumer to participate also. You don't necessarily have to buy cryptocurrency. You can just be part of it. You just enjoy the whole entire journey together, and then you win an NFT. And I think we are also looking at, I think the whole entire Web3 space is looking of easier way to onboard the next wave of consumer.
Mm.
So I think to me, while we talk about cryptocurrency, that's happening, on all the DeFi stuff. But to me, the Web2 to Web3 angle is really huge also. We are seeing
Yep.
a lot of partners coming up with new campaigns. So that's something that I'm really excited to. Of course, I think if we're talking about the DeFi side of things, I know we have a bit more time, so I'll just quickly talk about like something that I'm very bullish about. We do
Mm.
see money coming in from the RWA, real world asset
Mm.
tokenization. So the reason why there's so many real world tokenized assets is because DeFi itself, the yields are not great right now, and it's very like it's always written on the white paper that you don't really know how real the yield is. But with
Yep.
real world, you have the bonds, you have the tokenized stocks. I think this is a new opportunity for crypto and also the traditional market to take charge of all of this liquidity coming in the market, more transparency. But of course, like I
Mm.
think the liquidity part for like the common goods like your bonds your stock is
Yep.
understandable, but of course we have real estate also that is incoming. So I think those are the
Mm.
asset class that we don't really know yet whether it will work. But I think the
Yep.
idea of like opening up and making all of this management easier is actually really interesting. I think it's a $1 billion market right now for the RWE stuff. So if you're still
Mm.
working for supply chain, you're working for anything that's financial instrument or like real estate, this is a good opportunity also to look at it. Yeah. So I mean, both way you want to play games, you want to do like business. I think this is still a big opportunity.
Yeah, I think I like the part where you talk about the real assets, right? Being into the DeFi, being into blockchain, being into Web3, right? I think even like the digital twins, all these are slowly in the making, in the background that a lot of people may not know, and these are they are trying to create even more use case, more practical use case, to really see how can it be
Mm,
used in the real world. Because for me, I'm also in that space, like together with Consortium 21, my Malaysia marketing technology company, we are also like onboarding Web2 people using NFT as for marketing, using it for utility, to really engage, right? Like the new form of engagement. And I think previously there was one guest that was talking about the metaverses, right, will eventually replace like the Facebook, the Instagram. It's like another form, but in the 3D world, in the kind of virtual world that we are living in, that we are producing content. Like you talk about the user generated content, right? That you created that avatar, you can sell that. You created a brand inside or created that land, right? You can even monetize from it. It's like you really owning your own shop, own land, doing a business. So I think that also created another what we call, it might be called the metaverse economy,
Yes.
right? That you can build another. That is another huge one. That why both of us are excited, and also what do you call that? Where Sandbox
Yes.
metaverse and a lot
Yeah.
of other metaverses
Yeah.
are going
The
towards.
reality, if I always tell people, right, the how do you choose a metaverse is actually you have to look at traffic. Because you think about it, right, a
Mm,
really lazy way of thinking about it is like a new website. It's at the end of the day, it's a platform,
yep.
right? So, for example, right now you have a website, nothing happens if you don't drive traffic to the website. So how do you drive traffic in terms of like, of course, the user flow, and then there must be inbound traffic, right? So inbound traffic is actually dependent on the
Yep.
content that is provided by the platform. So when you choose metaverses or when you build
Yep.
metaverse, you must think of this thing, this element, because it's nothing magically happens. So this is the
Mm.
like I think content is such an important role in terms of the whole entire metaverse stage, and then linking to that is also technology. So
Mm.
how do you provide really high quality content at large amount, right? It's actually technology. If you have 5G, that's why 5G is so important, because imagine you're in like a VR. Okay, Sandbox doesn't do VR, but yeah, in a VR world
Mm.
and it doesn't look very well because of the 5G. So that's where the technology is not doing well. So I think for us, it's a bit of that
Mm.
conversion of a lot of these things coming together. You first have really good technology
Yep.
in terms of good infrastructure, in terms of your 5G network, your cloud
Yep.
computing network. You know, you need a computing power, and then of course then you have your content experience
Mm.
layer whereby you have good content, interesting. We need that's why we need creativity or everybody. See Roblox, a lot of the games are actually created by creators, right? So I think I agree with you, like that's the
Mm.
part, but I just want to caution people, thinking through the whole entire process of delivery of that
Mm.
traffic also.
Yep. Yeah, I think traffic at whatever
Mm,
platform is the same, especially in the digital world. So you need to drive the traffic, and also like you talk about
mm,
inbound, right? And that's why when Sandbox announced all these partners, right? I was like, wow, this is going to change the whole game, right? To bring in the traffic, because and that also bring me to the other one, which I want to hear from your insight, because now we are talking about
mm,
future trends, right? Like what are your thoughts about Apple Vision Pro releasing and showing us a spartier computing, right?
mm,
Another layer, another level of computing, which you don't need to use a keyboard. You
mm,
just put on a headset. And it's more just a headset. It's a new way of a new set of computers. And then recently, Mark Zuckerberg, together with his team, they came out with a codec avatar, which is very realistic. So imagine in future, you and I, right, we will not be on a
yeah.
flat screen. So people can join us and see us in our digital 3D hyper realistic avatar that really can mimic our mouth, the way we laugh, and all the wrinkles,
And
whatever that we have on our face, that really seeing
yeah,
us in that black space, right, in
yeah.
that metaverse. So, what are your thoughts on all this? Because I feel that this is going to change, or even have a metaverse 2.0
Mm,
version, because it's going to bring us to that world that maybe Ready Player One.
mm.
So in that kind of world,
Yeah.
what
And
are
I
your
think
thoughts?
the easiest way to draw parallels to the gaming world, I think traditionally you look at all the best metaverse actually gaming companies. They try to create really good
Yep.
immersive like experience. And I remember the time that I tried the VR for the first time. Like in my mind, when you look at other people playing VR, you're like, I know what they're doing, like they just like holding this weird like bags and then walking here and there, right? But I think the moment I put on, and then when you see it from your point of view, right, it's so
Yep.
amazing because you get to transport it into different elements at once. But I think for me, the hardware is such an important play because I tried, I think Oculus, and then like I couldn't,
Mm.
my brain couldn't compute. So after like 5 minutes where I couldn't take it anymore. Like, oh, this is amazing, but I can't really play it for long. And recently we borrowed a GP
Mm.
Lite, like the chair, the gaming
Mm.
chair with controls.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
and I also put in on the VR to try to drive the in the software.
Wow.
It's like, oh, so it's really amazing. Feel like F1 driver. So I think that's the
Yeah.
next part of like feeling in the metaverse. And I've never really tried Apple Vision Pro
Mm.
yet, but I think it's definitely interesting. And the for the avatar side of things is like, I think end of the day, like all of this high res thing, right, has to have the application. We have seen, I tried this
Yep.
hologram in MBS recently because they did a exhibition. So
Mm.
like, it looks so real that you are in a studio elsewhere, and then they show you on stage, and then like you look like you couldn't even tell
Mm.
whether, like, I took a picture and then you couldn't even tell whether which one is real, which one's not. So I suspect that
Mm.
we just need one more pandemic. Everything will go online.
More
Yeah,
remote,
more
right?
remote, then all of this will like be real. But I really like this thing called the virtual human, whereby you create like
Mm.
a human that is very aligned to your route and it can work 24/7 as
Yeah, your
yeah. But I
digital
think that's
version of you, right?
also hard to say. I'm not sure in terms of adoption, like what kind of use case. So I think it's about now, like we have reached
Mm.
a good stage of technology. I hope that the VR goggles are getting easier and easier to wear so that I can follow longer, or like we need the full haptic suit for the body to catch up. So I think now is our human OS that's the issue. Whether you can catch up or not. And I think one thing about the whole entire VR headset, right? Why people keep thinking of VR as metaverse, but we don't think so at the Sandbox, is that it's about
Mm.
accessibility. We do
Yep.
see that it's very fun, but there's only so many people who own VR sets. So we feel like, adoption wise, it will take another 5 to 10 years for like the whole entire VR got to
Mm.
be cheaper, to be better, and like more affordable and more connected.
Be like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, so for more people. But I think right now we do see the metaverse still
mm.
being more of a desktop mobile. Next year, as Mbox, we're going to
Mm.
mobile, and I think something we're really excited about because it means that
Mm.
we open up the whole entire Web3 market, Metaverse market, to way more people.
Mm.
So I think in terms of technology flow, I think this is why the interface level, we are still sitting on it because we are hoping that I think with Apple Vision Pro, they do have software that can
Yeah,
convert your games into 3D world in the future, so you don't have to be custom built
correct. Mm.
Web3 metaverse games. It will just be automatically
Mm.
translated. So I think that is exciting because it means that
Mm.
the amount of games that you have in the whole entire Web2 space can be translated into Web3 easily. So I think that
Yep.
is the part that I think
Mm.
there will be a mass adoption. But then again, the human and the hardware has to evolve.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, there's a lot of things that's going on, but I see that in the past, right? Maybe people will say, oh,
Mm,
10, 20 years. But now with all these devices, right, that is
mm.
very promising, right? I believe that it's going to shrink it to five
Hopefully
to ten
so.
years.
Mm,
And then if yeah, why would I say it? Because previously all of us know that when Mark Zuckerberg talked about his avatar, it's like very cartoonish, only half the body and all
mm.
that. So he got a lot of like backlash and on that. And then after Vision Pro had been out, right? Because Vision Pro when they do
Yeah.
the real is it FaceTime, the FaceTime, and I think that inspired his team right to come out with the Kodak avatar because it's like not say copying
Yeah.
like it's just like a version being derived from it. I think with all these innovation, right, that will also prompt a lot of developers, a lot of R&D to really
Mm,
use it as an example. Why would I say that, right? Is if you look at it, right, the mobile devices, the smartphone we are having now, right, is deriving from where? The Apple's iPhone, right? And then Samsung,
and
then the rest all caught up. Then now all the mobile phone are similar, right? All with the same interface starting from one. So that's why when Vision Pro came out, I was like, wow, okay, they are going to start
mm,
another iPhone evolution, right? It's going to be another thing because imagine you don't need any what do you call that? I mean, from your human, right? Your fingers, your hands, you're able to navigate, able
yeah.
to apply and all that. Even maybe a 3-year-old kid might be able to be able to navigate using the Vision Pro. That is how smartphone is. Like when my daughter was 1.5 years old, she was swiping the television, where that was. But back then, the 13 years ago, the TV
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
touchscreen yet, right? But she was because iPhone was out. I think it was iPhone 5 or something like that. So she was already using iPhone and iPad, right? So an iPad one. So that's why for them, I saw the future, and that's why I even tell myself the same thing as you. I wanted to be in tech, and that's why I manifested, got into that. So having now, I think we have a lot of insights about the Web3, but I also want to wrap up, right, with what you foresee, right, when we talk about, like, you are also a Singapore representative of WIBA. What would you what do you see the role
Mm.
of women, right, playing in the world of Web3, women in Web3, in shaping the future of businesses and society, especially now with AI, right? Definitely, with AI metaverses, Web3 will advance or catapult to
Mm.
the next level. What do you see the role of women
I
playing in
think
this
it's
space?
really important because you think about it, the technology is built by people, and all the model is
Yeah.
designed. I think one person that I really look up to is Annie Matthews from Code Without Barriers and Microsoft. I think she shared this
Mm,
story of like how during COVID, so they were using AI to filter resumes on like LinkedIn. Be like, oh, you know what, this achievement for this
mm,
particular role. But they realized that weirdly they keep choosing the same people. The same kind of people because women wasn't really updating their LinkedIn as much as the male counterpart because they were really selling
mm,
themselves. So comparatively, this is a bit of that inherent like model that if you don't plan the AI well enough, you get that kind of issue. So I think similarly, if in terms of photo recognition, it's about the training data, right? So I think there was one. I think the training didn't include people with diversity. So in fact, like they can't really scan your face. So I feel like this is why that the women in Web3 is so important because especially when it comes to new technology, we need to have the right people, right mind on it because if not, we don't see the things that we don't see. So I think this, like in terms of
mm,
product, in terms of the like policies, in terms of the involvement, right, of like
mm,
creating product for the female demographic, right? So that's these are all like very big market. That's why the
mm.
women is so important in coming in to
Yep.
provide that voice. Yeah. So I see I'm very pragmatic in terms of how I see AI. It's like we need to
Mm,
have the right input to make sure
yep.
that this algorithm runs rightly.
Of course. Like when you talk about, right, like for AI to really work, right, you need to feed them with the right information. And some of
Mm,
the AI out there, they are just feeding off the internet, which most of them are not real, right, or stuff like that. So that's why the
yeah.
input is very important. So it's like it's like there's a period of time we talk about organic food, right? So
Mm,
now it's like whether the ingredients are organic or the process are organic, right? So you go deeper and deeper to really understand,
yeah.
and that's where I think your part in educating more people about Web3, about technology, about leadership, all these things has to come. And also, like you mentioned, to have more women playing leadership roles, have
Yeah.
more women
Oh, yeah.
coming in with the Web3 in tech, in creating, right?
And just having more women use AI tools. I think it's
Hmm.
actually really quite fun. I've been trying different AI tools and be like, oh, wow, this is such an amazing technology. So I think even that, I think personally, I feel like even you learning on how to use AI tool, speaking to this lady yesterday, she's like, oh, I'm trying to create an AI tool that help me with my personal finance so that I can see how to optimize
Hmm.
my whole spending. I was like, okay, that's really cool. Can you share it with me? So I think that's at least like, going on a journey together. I think that's actually quite fun.
Are you getting any of these women coming together to play with AI, to develop
Oh,
things?
I'm talking to some friends. Like I think one way, if you know her,
Ah,
she's been always showing me new ideas of like, hey, you can use this for headshot, like photo. You don't have to create your own photo anymore. Use AI to do that. Then I've been trying. Yeah,
she has been putting it on
yeah, yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So some people are like, how is it real? Is that
Slightly
not
not
real?
really
Then
real,
after
but
that,
it
yeah.
looks a real enough kind of situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you talk about having women coming into the creator economy, right? Really creating things, especially in Web3, using AI,
Mm,
using any form, right? Even in technology. I think when women comes in, we solve the other 50% or more than 50% of the world problem, because a lot of world problems are now, I believe, that can be solved by women, especially the humanity part, the humility part. I think the emotional part of being human, right? I think this is the part that a lot of creators, or even in the creator economy, right, we do not have enough. And having the women's input, right, to really design things, right. For example, one of the guests were talking about the safety belt, right,
yeah.
the car safety belt. It was designed like that, right? And why? Because it's designed by a
Yeah.
man for men, right? But now women, they learn how to drive, they can drive, and this safety belt, every time I will see a female friend or even my wife will just pull it down, right? Become like a waist belt instead, because it's going to suffocate them. But what if women comes into designing safety belt? It will be like that, right? Two strap like F1 Formula driver, so that it will not suffocate them when in any
Yeah.
accident, or it will not cause
Mm,
any discomfort. The same thing with, if let's say the hair shampoo, right, is being designed by women. Women may not know that men has this balding issue that most women may not have. Then they may not create a
mm,
shampoo that is suitable for men, because to address the balding issue, because most women may not have that issues. So I think it takes two hands to clap, right? That's why in all collaboration, for me, I believe in championing to
mm,
come together. And definitely we can't always hear one side of the story. We need both sides to come in to have
mm,
different perspective, so that we can build something better or build a better world. So thank you very much for sharing and all that. And maybe do you have any upcoming project that you want to share with us that you're working on? I know you have some things on
mm.
the pipeline working on it. Maybe you can
Yeah,
share with us.
I think this year has been a really good year for WIBA. We did a lot of governmental like training. So we did one with like a Philippine government. So I think next year, for WIBA perspective, I think we are also restructuring in terms of what we can do more for the women. So myself and Ida, we are spinning off this thing called Embolden Ventures. So Embolden Ventures, we aim
Hmm.
to increase the amount of leadership in a very practical sense. So we want to train women and upskill women and place them into like organizations that need them. So recently we do see like there's a trend of more buyout funds. We have more search fund in the US, whereby entrepreneurs come out and take over companies. And I do see there is like a large amount of companies that they might require some takeover because of the first gen, second gen one take over kind of situation. So there's a big opportunity for instead from starting from scratch that we can actually place people, train them, and provide that community support to make sure they succeed in the business. So that's something that we are trying out. But of course, I think eventually what we want to do is to create one of the largest female focused fund in Asia, because we realize that while we keep talking about women being successful, at the end of the day, the company being very realistic require funding and the right business models. And the right partnerships, right? So I think end of the day, the funding and as well as the positions are two key things that we are focused on. And I think next year will be really interesting. I'm also talking of like there's some good, interesting governmental like collaboration in the pipeline that we are hoping to realize. So let me stay definitely like get connected with us. We would like to update as and when we have more information.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm also keeping me excited. So just keep me in the loop if you need any help or any support. Just let me know. I also can share with the community.
Got it.
So thanks a lot for sharing. So now, as you say, right, they can reach out to you. So how can they get connected with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. So if it's Belinda Lim, I'm on LinkedIn. Click connect if you want to talk to me. Yeah. So I think that was the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who want to get connected with Belinda, you can look at the ticker below the scrolling, so you can connect with her on LinkedIn, Belinda Lim. If not, you can post. You'll be able to see the link there, and you can get connected with her. So last but not least, now is your time for you to post the question of the day out to the next guest. So do you have your question of the day ready, Belinda?
Yes. What can women do to help more women succeed?
What can women
Do to help
do
more women succeed?
to help women succeed? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very nice question. Okay, let me just put it out and show it. So the question of the day posted by Belinda is, what can women do to help women succeed? Right? Is it correct? Okay, good. So this question of the day goes out to the next guest. So next guest, get ready to answer this question of the day so that we can kickstart with the show. And also this will also go out to the audience who are listening or who are watching. You guys can also share your answers in the comment section. So once again, thank you, Belinda, for sharing your insights about the future trends in Web3 and a lot of other things that women can do, and your upcoming plans in WIBA in even empowering more women, in helping more women in the leadership roles, and how they can be more successful. So thanks again for sharing all that. And do you have any last word for the audience?
No, I just want to thank everybody for your time. And again, Kenneth for providing a platform for us to share our stories. I think it's so important because this is not a opportunity you get every day. So thank you again for your hard work, and
Mm.
see you around in Singapore then.
Okay, thank you, Belinda. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Thanks, Belinda. Bye bye.